I've had a couple of hours to digest it. You know, I know a lot of people are interested in these kind of things, but I found out at the same time as everyone else, looking at a Liverpool video and sort of having that moment where you're wondering what's the message he's got for supporters. I was thinking, is it a sort of let's attack the rest of the season or stop singing this song or whatever else? And yeah, probably the last thing I expected was this. You know what? Do you know where my mind went straight away? It went to that clip of Tony Wilson in Liverpool City Centre in 1974 with the fans when Bill Shankly had announced he was retiring, and the disbelief. I felt like my face probably would have been comparable to that young kid who says he's leaving. Where have you heard that? No, it's not. That kind of sort of denial of it. Of course, you said that. We all knew this day would come at some point. I think we all kind of enjoyed the idea of putting it off and putting it to the back of your mind. The last thing you need to worry about is that. So for it to happen now, it to happen in the way it's happened, it's an almighty shock. It's I'm just thinking of some of the messages I've received, not just off people in football, but just friends and family, and
I know.
Reaction to it. It's such an emotional kind of reaction, and that's a measure of the man, really, and it's a measure of what he's achieved at Liverpool. It's a measure of just how much he's affected this city, this club, this incredible ride that he's taken everyone on in the last eight and a bit years. It's earned him this reverence that I'm sure we're going to see even more of it over the next few months. I imagine there's a press conference. I mean, I'm actually at Anfield now. I'm about to record a show for LFC TV. Ostensibly a preview show ahead of the Norwich game. I don't know how much we'll be talking about Norwich, but I'm just imagining what this place is going to be like on Sunday, the atmosphere and the noise around it. He's going to find out, Jurgen, just what people think of him. And obviously there's a press conference later today up at the AXA, 3:00. So I think it's going to be an emotional 48, 72 hours. And to be honest, probably an emotional 3-4 months coming up. So much to play for. And now they've got this extra sort of story around the club. It's a seismic day. It's one of those days that I'll remember it. I'll remember exactly where I was when I looked at that video. I was in Liverpool City Centre, about to go into the Anfield Wraps offices, opening the door and going, "Oh my God!" Life's changed a little bit there, and I'm sure a lot of people will have similar or comparable memories of this day. 26th of January 2024. We'll all remember where we were when we heard the news that Jurgen and Liverpool was coming to an end.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. It is seismic, as you mentioned there. You alluded to sort of the timing of it, and I think you're right. I think what it means for the remainder of the season, it adds that little extra incentive. We're going to want to go out in style for his sake, and you mentioned the fans and just the connection he's formed. But what do you make? I mean, it's he made the decision back in November. He informed FSG, and they sort of reluctantly accepted. I think it's been worded as. What do you make of that, and what do you make of the fact that he felt obliged to come out and say it now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we'll find out a little bit more later this afternoon, I imagine, on that front. I'm sure he'll be asked about it, but the obvious connection to make is why would you announce it now? And there's a few reasons, I suppose. One is obviously if you're making progress towards the next guy, there's a risk that it gets out, and then all of a sudden you're sort of behind the story, aren't you? At least Liverpool are ahead of the story here, where they can make this announcement cleanish break, and then they can start looking at that, what comes next, as opposed to it being, by the way, Liverpool have approached this guy, what's going on with Jurgen Klopp, is he being forced out? This obviously keeps them where they are. There's obviously the risk of being leaked and from various other ends, if you start sounding out managers or coaches or agents or whoever about new signings potentially, there's a lot of risk that it becomes, a story that gets leaked. So I sort of understand it. I understand that and I've had a lot of messages about this, the sort of, the negative connotations of announcing it. Jurgen is such a seismic, huge figure at the club. To have that hanging over, it could have a negative effect because it dims the mood of the fans, or it starts to make people wonder what's coming next. I personally, this is just my opinion, I think it will have a positive effect on the next few months. I think it will add some extra emotion if it were needed to some of these big games that are coming up. It'll obviously give these players, and some of them are new, some of them have been with Jurgen. They've only known Jurgen, all of them pretty much at Liverpool. I think Joe Gomez is the only one, and obviously a few of the lads who've come through the academy, the only ones who'll have known anything different at this club. this might be one of the moments where you see just an extra spring in people's step, an extra motivation to do it for Jurgen, to do it for the manager who's give them their careers, really, their top level careers. You think of Virgil van Dijk, Alisson Becker, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mo Salah. Wouldn't they love to repay Jurgen with the last league game he has at Anfield, or the last game he has at Anfield is a league title, the last game he has is a Europa League final win, all those things going through those players' minds. I think personally it will have a positive effect. Not that it's positive news, not that it's a positive thing for the club, but I think it can be used in a positive way in the coming weeks and months. And I am intrigued to see it. I'm just thinking about Sunday. For example, it could be a potentially sleepy game in the FA Cup, fourth round. Norwich at home, expected to win. Might be a little bit of sort of apathy. Not even there won't be on Sunday. It'll be this place will be absolutely bouncing. And thinking Chelsea coming on Wednesday, you got a big game for Arsenal. Those travelling Reds will want to have them fist pumps every time they can see, and they want to get the most of them. So I think, I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to seeing it, but I am intrigued to see sort of just how much this emotional roller coaster carries on going in the next few weeks, because as I say, there's so much to play for.
Yeah, there absolutely is. It could be some farewell tour between now and the end of the season. Absolutely, mate. Yeah, I want to touch on, obviously, the backroom staff will be leaving with Jurgen Klopp, Pep Lijnders included. Now, it wasn't so long ago that Pep Lijnders was being sort of earmarked or potentially eyed up as the Jurgen Klopp replacement. Of course, that doesn't feel like it's going to be the case now. The rest of the staff leaving as well. Jörg Schmadtke, likewise. What do you make of that? Because there are some that might say, you want to keep that sort of there because that they understand the club, they know the way it works and stuff like that. But for me personally, new manager coming in, you want him to bring his own staff. How do you sort of see it?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because they're so closely associated. In particular, Peter Krawietz. I mean, he's been Jurgen's guy, right through his time in his career. So, it would feel more strange for me if Peter Krawietz was going to stay around and sort of, see what a new manager was thinking. I think from a new manager's point of view, I think you might want that expertise in some areas, but I'm not sure the coaching staff is where you want it. You'd obviously have your own guys anyway. So I'm not surprised that it is. I think the Linders one, I've never been of that opinion that he was being groomed for a Liverpool job or that he was even really in the frame for it. I've never really had that impression. So I think it said in the statement, didn't it, that he's looking to pursue his managerial career elsewhere. Now, I don't think that was ever going to be his first or his next job was going to be the Liverpool manager's job. I just don't think that was the case. But what, of course, it means, and with Jörg Schmadtke, who's not been here obviously long, but what it does mean is it's a real clean break, isn't it? It's going to be a real clean break from a Liverpool point of view. There's a clearing of the decks, if you like, going on with the manager, with the staff, with the sporting director and the football operations side of things. And that leaves a big void. It leaves, opportunity, of course. Life can go on and success can still be had. But it does mean that Liverpool have got some huge decisions to make and a lot of pressure on them to get them right.